I used to work the night shift at a fast food restaurant just off the highway. The kind of place that stays open 24 hours because truckers, drunks, and insomniacs always need somewhere to go. Most nights were dead quiet. From midnight to 4 a.m., it was usually just me inside, the hum of the fryers, and the glow of the drive-thru monitor lighting up the empty parking lot. About a month before I quit, something strange started happening. It always began the same way. A car would pull up to the drive-thru speaker around 2 in the morning. Same order, same voice, same routine. He ordered a large burger meal with a soda. Nothing special. When he pulled up to the payment window, he never rolled the window down fully, just enough to slide his card through. The windows were tinted so dark I couldn't see his face. He'd pay, and then he'd drive away. Never stopped to pick up the food. The first time I laughed it off. Free meal. The second time it felt weird, but I still didn't think much of it. By the third time, I realized it was always the same voice, same calm tone, same pauses between words, same time of night. Every 4 or 5 days, I started expecting him, almost joking to myself that my mystery customer was buying me dinner. Then one night, everything changed. At about 2:15 in the morning, the speaker beeped. I heard his voice again. He placed the same order. And then, right before pulling forward, he said something I will never forget. "I hope you've been enjoying those meals." I froze. Then he said my last name. My heart dropped into my stomach. I don't wear a name tag with my last name. It's not printed anywhere customers can see. I never gave it to him. I asked who he was. No answer. I asked how he knew my name. Silence. Then I heard his engine rev and the car sped away. This time he didn't even pay. I couldn't focus for the rest of my shift. When I finally got home, my hands were shaking. That's when I saw the note. It was taped to my front door, handwritten, only 6 words. "I know what you did, 3 days." I felt sick. I had no idea what he was talking about. I don't have secrets. I don't have enemies. I don't even live an interesting life. The next night he came back. This time he didn't order food. He gave me an address. Then he told me I had 2 days to bring $10,000. I laughed out of fear. I didn't have that kind of money. I ignored it. 3 nights later, someone threw a rock through my living room window. That's when I called the police. They took a report. They said they'd patrol more often. Nothing ever came of it. I quit that job a week later. I still don't know who he was. But sometimes, late at night, when I hear a car slow down outside my apartment, I swear I recognize the sound of his engine. I took the overnight security job because it paid better than anything else I could find at the time. And honestly, I didn't mind being alone. The shift ran from 11 at night to 7 in the morning, and most nights were painfully quiet. The warehouse complex sat on the edge of the city, far from neighborhoods or busy roads. During the day, it was full of forklifts, workers, and delivery trucks, but at night it felt abandoned. like the place stopped existing once the sun went down. My job was simple: clock in, do a perimeter walk, sit in the security office and watch the cameras. Every hour, repeat. For the first few months, nothing unusual ever happened. No break-ins, no alarms, no problems. Just silence, humming lights, and the occasional animal wandering near the fence. The night everything changed started like every other shift. It was winter, cold enough for snow, but not a storm. Just a light dusting that made everything feel quieter than usual. I did my first patrol around the loading docks, checked the locks, and went back inside. Around 1:30 in the morning, the motion alert went off on one of the loading dock cameras. That wasn't unusual. Wind, snow, or animals could trigger it. I pulled the camera feed up on my monitor and watched for a few minutes. Nothing. Just the empty dock, snow drifting under the floodlights, and long shadows against the concrete. 10 minutes later, the alert went off again. Same camera. Again, nothing visible. By 2:30, it had happened 6 or 7 times. No other cameras were triggering, just that one. And what bothered me was that the movement always seemed to register right at the edge of the frame, like something was there but never fully visible. At 3 in the morning, I decided to check it in person. Outside, the air was bitter cold. The complex was completely silent. I walked the entire dock area with my flashlight, scanning the ground, the doors, the corners. There were no footprints in the snow, no signs of forced entry, no movement. I went back inside, uneasy but trying to stay rational. 20 minutes later, I heard a sound that made my stomach drop. It was a loud, metallic scraping noise. Not outside, inside the warehouse. It sounded like something heavy being dragged across concrete. I froze at my desk, listening. After a few seconds, there was a sharp bang, like something had struck one of the interior doors. I pulled up the interior camera feeds. One by one, I checked all 6. Nothing. When I got to the last camera, the screen went black for a few seconds, filled with static, then came back on. But the angle had changed. Only slightly, but enough that I knew it hadn't been like that before. It looked like someone had physically touched the camera. At that point, I didn't have a choice. I grabbed my flashlight and radio and went inside the warehouse. The interior was massive. Long aisles of industrial shelving stretched out in every direction, fading into shadow. The overhead lights were dimmed for energy savings, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. I walked slowly, flashlight sweeping back and forth, every sound amplified in the silence. Halfway down the main aisle, I heard footsteps. They weren't echoing. They weren't random. They sounded deliberate. Someone walking. The moment I stopped, the footsteps stopped too. I stood there, barely breathing, waiting. The silence felt heavy, like the building itself was listening. Finally, I spoke, announcing myself as security and telling whoever was there to come out. No response. I finished the patrol without seeing anyone, but I knew I wasn't alone. There was no doubt in my mind anymore. Nothing else happened for the rest of the shift, but that almost made it worse. When 7 a.m. came, I couldn't leave fast enough. I reported everything to my supervisor. Maintenance checked the cameras. Management checked the logs. They found nothing. No signs of entry, no damaged equipment, no explanation. People clearly didn't believe me. I didn't last much longer at that job after that night. Even now, years later, I still think about it. The footsteps, the shifted camera, the feeling that something was moving just out of sight, choosing when to be seen. Some places aren't empty just because they look that way. And some night shifts show you exactly how alone you really are. I worked the overnight shift at a 24-hour gym during my gap year. From 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., it was usually just me and the cameras. The gym was key card access only. Everyone who came in was logged. Or at least, that's what we were told. Around 2 in the morning, I noticed someone new on the monitors. A man running on a treadmill in the far corner. That alone wasn't strange. What was strange was how fast he was running. 9 miles per hour. Barefoot, 10 minutes past. Then 15. He didn't slow down. He didn't wipe sweat. He didn't even blink. His face was blank. Mouth slightly open, just staring forward. When I zoomed the camera in, I saw the blood. His feet were torn open. Blood was splattering onto the treadmill belt with every step, pooling on the floor behind him. I went out to tell him to stop. I didn't even make it halfway before he spoke. Without turning his head, he whispered, "Are you there?" His voice was flat, not out of breath. I told him again to stop. Same words. "Are you there?" I went back to the office and pulled up the cameras. He was staring directly into the lens now, still running, still bleeding. Then he screamed, not words, just a scream. He jumped off the treadmill and vanished from the cameras, every camera, except one, the employee hallway. He was standing outside my office door, 6 feet away. The doorknob rattled. I locked it and called the police. They arrived 5 minutes later. He was gone. No blood, no footprints, no record of anyone entering the gym. Not even a key card scan. I quit the next day. That treadmill was removed a week later. They told me it malfunctioned, but I know what I saw. And sometimes, when I drive past that gym late at night, I swear I see someone running inside. If you enjoyed these true night shift horror stories, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Scary Stories Files. Because when the lights go out, the real stories begin.